Hey guys, short video today on lazy unit studies. So we don't actually use unit studies as such in our homeschool a whole bunch. We usually pick a curriculum for a subject and follow it, but we do unit studies for interest-led learning. We make sure that there's lots of time in our child's day to be bored, and when they're bored, they have to figure out something to do, and frequently that's following their interests. So facilitating that almost works like a unit study in some ways. So that's kind of my caveat. Like, we don't really do unit studies intentionally like as part of our planned curriculum, but frequently I find myself basically facilitating and enabling these interest-led unit studies, and I love that. That is awesome. To me, one of the best things about homeschooling is that our kids are hopefully learning to love learning, and if they want to study something, I am definitely going to go out of my way to make sure that we have the resources and the books and, you know, put the things on hold at the library and everything else to make that happen. But we're actually doing a couple of intentional unit studies as we get going on our school year. We're doing a little friend co-op for science, and it hasn't started yet, but we've already started school. So I thought this is a great time for a couple of short unit studies. So I just wanted to give you my 3 things I do when I'm pulling together a lazy unit study, and maybe it'll be helpful to you if you use unit studies, but they've kind of been more prepackaged and you want to do something more on your own and unique, or if you've never used unit studies but you're looking for something to do just to give some more interest to something else you're studying. That's a great way to use unit studies. You know, if you're studying ancient history and you do a unit study on Egypt, that doesn't have to take away from your ancient history curriculum. You know, it's just complementary. So 3 things. Thing number 1, go on your library website, search whatever your topic is. So for us, it was otters. Narrow by audience, if that's a feature on your website and you want to do that. I narrowed it to children. And then just put a whole stack of books on hold. Like, when you think, have I put too many books on hold? Just keep going, okay? So once you have your big old stack of books, and this is like a 5th of what is in our library book basket on otters right now, then you can sit down with them and you can go through them and you can pick out the best ones for reading out loud to add to your morning time. So yesterday we read Little Otter's Big Journey, and it's all about this otter, and the mother wraps it up with kelp before it goes hunting like they do. But then he wanders off and he meets all sorts of friendly creatures. He meets a whale, and they all tell him, stay right here, I'll go get your mom. But then he floats away from where he was. So finally he gets reunited with mama and everything's good. Just a really sweet story. And I feel like narrative stories like that include the facts are more likely to anchor them in our child's memory. Pup the sea otter was also very sweet. We read this one aloud, and it has a lot of great information just in the story, just very natural. How, you know, mama's over here cracking shells open with rocks, how they're tucking the shells and things into their kind of armpit pockets to swim back up to the surface. I had actually wondered that. And just really gorgeous illustrations. So Pup the Sea Otter was great. But you know, that's not to say that there's never a place for kind of this style of book, and you probably have seen this style of book on many topics at your library. Giant Otter, and then it's just facts. And you know what? once the child is already interested in a topic, those facts may stick in their mind. But if they're not already interested, or if maybe the facts seem too unconnected to other things, then they may not stick. So I like to use these only with other really great resources to tie it in. The other thing is Netflix or Amazon Prime. If you have one of these, you need to check on there and see if they have any great documentaries or other resources that may tie in perfectly with your chosen topic. So for otters, I think it was Prime had Otter 501, and it's about an otter baby who is rescued and rehabilitated and released into the wild by the Monterey Bay Aquarium team. And that was very gripping. You get invested in the story, and we actually learned so much about otters because they're talking about everything that an otter has to know before it can be released into the wild. And they actually have a program of surrogate mothers. It was fascinating. So we watched that. That was really good. Really grabbed our interest. Didn't find anything really on Netflix this go round for this topic. So I always like to check both if I can and see what resources there are. YouTube can also be a great resource. Sometimes you want to kind of pre-screen that because quality on YouTube is of course really uneven. Some people are just trying to get views, trying to get subscriptions, and there's really not a lot there. It's just, what is this? And some of them are really good, so you may want to pre-screen. And then the last thing that I did for this was to just Google free otter printables, and I found some really fun printables that my 5-year-old loved coloring while she listened during morning time. So that was a win for her. And then the last thing, and this will not work out for all unit studies for sure, but for otters it worked out really well. We have a zoo membership, and our zoo has several different kinds of otters. So for one of our school days, we went to the zoo and we made sure to watch the otters play. And that was a really great tie-in and a really fun break for our first week of school, to just incorporate a fun field trip that I knew everybody would like. So those are my unit study tips. I don't do a lot of unit studies, so I would love to hear any tips that you have in the comments below. As always, give me a like, subscribe, and check back for more sporadic homeschool videos as I have the inspiration and the time. See you later, guys.